my name is Kelly Diuble, and I am your business feasibility manager. I'm going to be talking to you today about the different aspects of expanding our product line to South Korea. I believe this would be a great opportunity for us, and I think the transition would go rather smoothly. I have created a plan that will cover the different obstacles that we could possibly come across by expanding into South Korea. I've tried to look at the political issues, the legal issues, and the cultural issues with the business itself. And I did want to take into consideration the people that already work for 3M Corporation going over to South Korea. I think we would need a good number of people to go over there initially, and then after we've hired the local South Korean people to come in and establish who the management would be, and then who the entry-level employees would be, and then which employees would be returning to the United States. So I have in this video tried to think of all the different aspects we would need to consider when we are entering into South Korea. I know that this is a big step, but we have a lot of good people. Our business has a strong foundation, and I believe politically the groundwork has already been laid for us. So we're not going to come across too many issues going into the country as long as we are taking the necessary steps to acknowledge that we are going outside the United States and looking at all the different aspects of creating a business in a different country and bringing our people in. I know that part of the concern about expanding into South Korea were some of the social issues that are going on. The fact that the current abortion laws in South Korea are really restrictive. And because of that, it's forced a lot of the women that are in bad situations to go outside of safe channels for getting an abortion, because they would be considered criminals. And if they weren't having an abortion because of rape or a health concern or incest. If they were married, then they would have to have their husband or their spouse's consent to have the abortion. And then there were the medical providers that were being harassed because they were performing abortions. And there's just a lot of upheaval in the country because of this. It's been a struggle for over 60 years trying to get these laws changed, because they are taking away the human rights of the women and girls in the area. But as of April 11th of this year, the South Korean government finally decided to change these laws so that they are not as restrictive. It has not gone into effect yet, but hopefully in 2020, these laws will be finally changed. The South Korean government did decide that the anti-abortion law was unconstitutional. So they are in the process of revising that, which will hopefully give a little bit more stability to the South Korean people. The political hurdles that we would have doing business with South Korea, I don't believe that there are going to be a lot of them, especially since South Korea, they want to strengthen the relationship business wise with the United States. And the United States has just finalized the trade agreement with South Korea. They renegotiated it. So it is, we are open to do business with them and expand our company to South Korea. Another aspect that we do need to consider when entering South Korea to start our business is what the cultural reception is going to be of our new business there. I believe that what the strategy we should use is to introduce this as we have quality products that we're going to introduce. We're not going to have any shipping fees from bringing them over from overseas, because we're going to produce these products right there in South Korea. And we're going to be bringing a lot of new jobs and opportunities to the area. This is going to be valuable to all the local people. We just need to keep our minds open and be respectful of the people in the area, so that we will have a warm welcome, and we are going to try not to offend anyone, because we are going to keep an open mind. Next, I would like to discuss the feasibility of 3M Corporation doing business in South Korea. I believe that the best way for us to do this is to manufacture and sell products that 3M has already developed. We don't need to expand these products or continue to do research on these products. We need to take the products that are the best known in this area and then just produce them. We're going to be a well-oiled machine on producing these products, and we're going to distribute them in South Korea. We're going to save on all the shipping costs, and we're going to have limited equipment that we do need to either build in South Korea or ship over. Um, Next, I would like to look at the small scale issues of integrating into South Korea. We'll talk about the interpersonal issues that we might come across, and that would be good for everyone that is going to be involved in the team that goes over to South Korea to recognize these things. The South Korean people, they value their relationships. They are a very close knit group, and family is very important to them. And they do like to have eye contact when you're talking to them, letting them finish what they're saying before you start talking. And they really want you to just listen to them and show them respect. The other part of integrating into South Korea that we need to look at are the cultural issues that our employees might come across. We are going into a completely different culture from the United States. We are going to need to try to embrace this different culture and be open to the different customs that the South Korean people have. They are very warm and welcoming people, but it's going to be completely different than dealing with the people in the United States. And the best thing for everyone to keep in mind is just to have an open mind and to embrace all these different changes that are going to come upon us. Everything is different. The transportation is different. The food is different, just the customs that we are used to. After being there for a while, we will get used to these things, but we need to just keep an open mind and embrace this new culture. When we are first integrating into South Korea, I think it's very important that we are all conscious of how we're going to show respect to our South Korean business partners. We have to be aware of what we are doing on a daily basis, the way that we are speaking to each other, the way that we're making eye contact, using hand gestures, if we're hugging or kissing or whatever we're doing in our daily lives. We need to be more aware of it at this time when we are trying to integrate into a different culture. So, as we're trying to show respect for our business partners in South Korea, we need to make sure that we are always making eye contact with them. We are not interjecting into their conversations. We're letting them finish and being mindful of has been said, and just being respectful without using sarcasm. We need to remember that we are, even though we are going to be starting a business and owning this business in South Korea, we are still going to be guests in a foreign country. We always need to be mindful of that, keeping with the proper customs and not offending anyone. I think as we're formulating our plan to open a business in South Korea, it's very important that we take into consideration what the reception of our employees are going to be when they're going into South Korea. We need to have people that are very open to spending at least a year in South Korea. And if we're bringing their families, we need to think about what the educational system is like for if they have young children that are still in school. So we need to think about these different things and just get the employees ready for this move. They are going to be so far from home, and it is very expensive to fly back to the United States. So we need to prepare them for that. If they're going to have family coming over, are we going to help compensate them? Just things that we need to think about to make their transition smoother. I do think that a training session is going to be necessary for the employees that, one, are volunteering to go to South Korea, and then two, are the people that we actually select after the process is complete, to see who is going to be a right fit for taking these positions that are in South Korea, working alongside the South Korean employees that we're going to hire once we are there. I think that we need to bring in people that are going to help with the immersion process for our employees, so that we can teach them the most popular sayings in Korean. We need to teach them as much Korean as possible, so that they do have a leg up when they arrive in South Korea. A lot of the South Korean people already know English, but it is a sign of respect that we have tried to learn the language. It will help with any miscommunication that might arise if we don't know any Korean. So we need to have a really intense program in place for providing the training that everybody is going to need. The other thing that we're going to look at is the relocation process. This is going to be part of taking the culture shock out of moving to South Korea. So the relocation, we have to think about if we are just bringing people over that don't have families. In my opinion, I think that anybody that wants the opportunity to go to South Korea really should have that opportunity, but they do need to give a commitment of at least a year because it will be expensive to do the relocation. We're going to need to look at what that's going to involve as far as the visas. We already know that there aren't any vaccinations that people are going to need to go there. Are we going to let them bring pets? If there is a quarantine period for bringing the pets into the country? These are things that we will need to come up with the whole plan from start to finish to relocate the entire family to South Korea. And then just putting together a welcome packet so that they have everything they're going to need to hit the ground running. So having the housing situation all organized before they get there, and having their family members, if they are going to look for outside work or if their children need to start school, having all that information ready for them before they leave. So one of the considerations that we need to take into account is when we're moving the 3M employee families to South Korea, if they want to explore different employment options. I think the most common thing for people to do when they're entering South Korea is to get a job teaching English. It makes the most sense. It's obviously very easy for us since we know the language. The other interesting thing about the industry that a lot of people from the United States, when they go over to South Korea, a lot of people get jobs in their shipbuilding market, it's really big in South Korea. And you just have to be good working with your hands. So just a couple options. We'll have all this information available to the spouses of the employees that are chosen to go over to South Korea. In conclusion, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to look into expanding our business into South Korea. I think this is a great opportunity for us. I think that we are going to be welcomed very warmly into South Korea. The prospect of providing as many jobs as we're going to be able to provide is really going to make an impression on the people of South Korea. I think that because the way that the South Korean people are, they are. It's going to be an easy transition working with these people, and I think that we need to act quickly. This is just a great time for us to to transfer over our business to South Korea. We may not get another opportunity like this. So I think that the next steps would be to find out, the location. I was looking at Seoul. I think that's the best location for us. Just mainstream everything and then look at what kind of team we want to take over to do the preliminary, just the layouts and things like that, and then get together a team to recruit the volunteers of our existing corporation, and find out how many people that is going to entail. So again, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to call or email. I will leave all my contact information in the last slide. And thank you.